Okay, so inequalities part 2. So we looked at this statement here, and it says give all possible values for x. So here we can see that x is less than 3, but is more than or equal to -1. So we need to put that on the number line. So for x is 3, we know x is less than 3, but not equal to 3. Now x is greater than -1, so we go to -1. But we put in a full circle because it's greater than or equal to -1. So now all we do is we connect our 2 points, and then it says give all possible values for x. So here we can say, well, x could equal, now it could equal -1, it could equal 0, it could equal 1, it could equal 2, but it can't equal 3 because it's less than 3, not less than and equals. So we can say that x could equal -1, 0, 1 or 2. Actually, being strictly correct, we can't say x equals that. We would say that x would have those possible values. Okay, so I think that's fairly simple. All you need to do is go to these numbers on the number line and then decide whether these full or empty circles, and then you collect them together. Okay, so that's quite simple, I think, and it's just a question of practice doing it over and over again. Now sometimes what they'll do in the exam is they will give you, for example, 2x is greater than -4, but is less than or equal to 1. Okay, so 2x is greater than -4, but 2x is less than -1. Well, actually I'll change that. Just for ease, we'll make this 2. Now, like most algebraic equations, we always want to know what 1x is. So we're not interested in what 2x is, we're only interested in what x is. So in here, we only want x. Okay, so I've got to get 2x down to x. Now these signs will stay exactly the same. Okay, there. Now to go from 2x to x, I'll just divide by 2. But to do that, I have to do the same right through this statement. Okay, so -4, so we divide this by 2. Okay, would give us -2, and 2 divided by 2 would give us 1. Okay, so for example, if we took an algebraic equation and we said 2x plus 4 equals 6, I could, if I wanted to, just divide the whole thing through by 2. So x plus 2 equals 3. And that would still give me the same answer. So x would equal 3 minus 2. So x would equal 1. Now if x equals 1, 2x equals 2. So 2 plus 4 equals 6. So we can do this. As long as I do something to the left hand side and do it to the right hand side, this is totally okay. Okay? So we're doing exactly the same here. So because we've got 2x, we only want 1x, so we divide through by 2. If this was 5x, I would divide all the way through by 5. Okay? So now I've got that, I go to minus 2, and minus 2 would be an empty circle because x is greater than minus 2. But x is less than or equal to 1. So I would just fill in a circle. Then I would just connect the two up. And I can see here that my possible values for x would be minus 1, 0 and 1. Because x is less than or equal to 1. So it can be 1. So those three values are possible values for x. Okay. So you can see that, like all algebra, we want to find what one x is, not several x's. Okay, so I'll just take this out. And let's say, for example, minus 3, and we have 3x line underneath that, and that's 9. Okay, so 3x is less than or equal to 9, and 3x is greater than or equal to minus 3. So we need to find out what x equals. And because we've got 3x here, we need to divide by 3 here. We need to divide by 3 here. And we need to divide by 3 here. So we go right the way through because the coefficient of x is 3. So we write the same signs as we did before. So 3x divided by 3 just gives us x. Minus 3 divided by 3 gives us minus 1. 9 divided by 3 gives us 3. So now both signs are and equals to, so they'll both be solid circles. So I can go to minus 1 and put in a solid circle. I can go to 3, put in a solid circle. Now I can just connect these together, and then the possible values of x, well, x can be minus 1, so that will be 1. X can be 0, x can be 1, x can be 2, and x can be 3, because both signs are and equals to. So there are 5 possible values for x. Again, this is why we call it inequalities, because x doesn't definitely equal 2 or 1. It could equal any one of these. Okay. So where you've got a number of x, 3x, 2x, 5x, 7x, you just divide all the way through by the coefficient of x. So you divide through by 5 or 3 or 7. Okay, so let's just take this out. And sometimes they like to take it just one step further. I'm sure you're all pleased to know. So let's say we have x plus 1 is less than 5 and is more than minus 3. Okay, so we have just the 1x, but we have this plus 1, and we don't want this. Again, we just want the signs with just x. So we need to get rid of this plus 1. Well, if we've got plus 1, if I go take away 1, minus 1 plus 1 cancel out and just leave me the x. But as we did before, what we do here we must do to both sides. So we must go minus 1 here, and we must also go minus 1 here. So minus 1 minus 3 is minus 4, and then minus 1 plus 5, or 5 minus 1, will give me 4. Okay, now I could plot this on the number line if they wanted to know, but I can see from this the possible values. I know x is greater than minus 4, but it can't equal minus 4. But it can equal anything above it, so it can equal minus 3, can equal minus 2, it can equal minus 1, it can equal 0, it can equal 1, it can equal 2, it can equal 3. But it can't equal 4 because x must be less than 4, not less than or equals to. So these are all the possible values of x. Okay, so if we have this random number here, all we do is we reverse the sign and put the number in so that the two will cancel one another out. But when you do that, you must do it to both sides. Okay, so let's take this one away. And we'll give you another one. And we'll see if we can make it even more complicated. So we put in our sign. So let's say we have 2x plus 1. Okay, so let's say that this is 5 and this is minus 3. Okay, so we'll take out the past values of x. Now we have a coefficient greater than 1, so x is 2 here. So we want to get rid of that. We want, remember, just to have x. But we've also got this random number. So the first thing I want to do is get rid of the random number. Now because I've got plus 1, I'll add minus 1. Because 2x plus 1 minus 1 will just leave me the 2x. Okay, and the signs will always stay the same, these don't change. But I must go -1 all the way through this statement. So -1 minus 3 is -4. -1 plus 5 would be 4. So you can see now that this +1 has disappeared, and I've also taken it through the whole statement. Now it's just simple because we've got 2x. Now we only want x. Okay. So, oops, sorry, there. So we just want x. So I'm going to need to divide by 2 because we have 2x. So -4 divided by 2 would be -2. And 4 divided by 2 would be 2. So now possible values for x, or x could be -2 because it's greater than or equal to. So it could be -2, it could be -1, it could be 0, it could be 1, but it can't be 2 because it's not and equals 2. Okay, I'm hoping that I've explained this well enough for you to understand. Okay. If you're not quite getting it, it's not your fault, it's me not explaining it well enough. So I'll do another one so that we can get the idea. So let's take this away. So let's say we have, let's say 3x minus 1. Okay, it won't always be -1, I'm just using this because it's nice and simple. Is less than or equal to, so let's say 7, and is more than minus we'll make this -7 just to make it a little bit easier for me. And in fact I'll change this number as well. I'll make this 5. Okay, so 3x minus 1 is greater than -7, but is less than or equal to 5. Now we have this random number, so we always get rid of this random number, the same as we do with these equations. Remember, we get rid of these numbers to isolate x, so we're doing exactly the same thing. Now we have a -1 here. So to get rid of a -1, I want to apply the opposite. So that will be +1. So 3x minus 1 plus 1, the two 1's would cancel out, leaving me the 3x. But remember that I must do the same across the whole statement. So +1 minus 7 would be -6. The signs stay the same. This would still be 3x, remember, because we're only getting rid of this -1. It's less than or equal to, now 5 plus 1 is 6. And you should see here, we know now that 6 and -6 are divisible by 3, so this should give us whole numbers that will, we know, work out to give us whole numbers as values. So now we have 3x. I don't want 3x, I just want x. Remember the signs stay the same. So I'm going to divide by 3. So minus 6 divided by 3 will be minus 2. And 6 divided by 3 would be 2. So now I know this, I go to minus 2 and it's less than, okay, or is greater than. So x is greater than minus 2, so I put in an empty circle, and x is less than or equal to 2, so I can put in a full circle. Okay, I just join these two together, and then if they say give possible values for x, now I know x cannot be minus 2, but it can be minus 1, it can be 0, it can be 1, and it can be 2, because it's less than or equal to 2. So those would be my final possible values for x. Okay, minus 1, 0, 1 and 2. Okay, so this is just practice. Everything in mathematics is practice. Don't be afraid of it. It looks quite horrible, but hopefully I've explained it so that it's simplified a little bit. And remember that you'll get more than one answer, or usually you will get more than one answer. Okay, now inequalities can also be shown graphically. So I'll do an inequalities 3 and I'll show you how to graph the inequalities. Okay, so good luck and just practice.